Good afternoon, sir. Myself, Rajesh. My roll number is 178-239. So our topic is automotive emission, noise, vibration, harness control. So first slide. So let me introduce from the vibration. Vibration means quickly moving back, forth, up and down about a point of equilibrium. Something that is vibrating may shake at the time. So in oscillation, a regular such as motion of pendulum or random such that movement of fire on a gravel road. An example for vibration is that feeling of two cymbals being slammed together. Next slide. So, what causes vibration in vehicles? So, vibration is usually caused by out of balance or defective tire and a bent wheel. So, these are the reasons for for causing the vibration in vehicle. So, next point is you may find that a car shakes the car's up and down motion. You may feel vibration through the seat, steering wheel, or even in the brake pedal. So this then next reason is tires can be easily knocked out of alignment by various road hazards. This causes them wear unevenly. For example, cupping a wavy surface on tire thread, excessive wear on one side. So another possible reason is tire related reasons or your rims. This could be caused by rough driving and hitting large bumps and potholes, causing the rims bend, damaging our tire. Next slide. So we need to measure the vibration. So why we are measuring the vibration? So main purpose is it will the vibration may influence the durability and reliability of machinery systems or structures and causes problems such as damage, abnormal stopping, disasters. To develop and design more reliable product, vibration measurement and shock measurement is operated in testing for a sample or finished product. Vibration measurement is used not only when the problem occurs, but also when daily maintenance is performed. The production system is kept in operation by detecting the possible failure of a part through adverse vibration patterns. So the next topic FFT analysis will be present by Prithvi.
Good morning, sir. I'm Prithiv, 17 year 236. I'm going to explain about the fast Fourier transform analyzer. The fast Fourier transform analyzer is an item of RF test equipment that uses Fourier analysis and digital signal processing techniques to provide spectrum analysis. The spectrum of the signal is the computation of magnitude of both sine and cosine components of the overall signal. So, when we give an input signal with the time as an independence variable, it is converted into a frequency spectrum. In this slide, we are going to see about the purpose and working of an FFT analyzer. FFT analyzer is an important measurement method in the science of audio and acoustic measurements. The basic working of an FFT analyzer is it converts the time domain into a continuous frequency domain. So for that, a standard Fourier transform is not sufficient. It needs a discrete Fourier transformation, since the signal obtained are in discrete values at a regular interval of times. So when a signal is sampled over a period of time, it is divided into small frequency components. These components are single sinusoidal oscillations at distinct frequencies, each with their own amplitude and phase. Over the time period measured, the signal contains three distinct dominant frequencies. Okay, let's see how an FFT analyzer is used to measure vibrations in an vehicle. Here we have an entire layout of a car. Its front and rear part are connected with an elastic cord to a fixed support to stimulate free conditions. Then we have an accelerometer behind the front wheel and a force transducer behind the rear wheel. The accelerometer is a sensor that is used to measure speed of the vehicle. So then the force transducer is a sensor that generates an output voltage proportional to the force acting on the transducer. So the accelerometer is now connected with the spectrum, and the signal from the force transducer goes to the exciter, gets excited, then goes to the signal conditioner and gets amplified, then goes to the spectrum analyzer. Then from the spectrum analyzer, the results are obtained in the computer. So based upon the results, we can come to a conclusion about the vibrations acting on the vehicle. This is the entire layout of an FFT analyzer and the basic working of it. Further will be explained by my batchmates. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Prithiv. Myself, Rajavignesh, 17A238. I am going to present about types of FFT analyzer and the applications. First, the handheld FFT analyzer. This instrument helps in both measurement and analysis. Data can be collected from the actual field for analysis. Since it is a handheld device, it is used to it is easy to handle. Next, the computer-based FFT analyzer. Since it is a PC-based analyzer, it is very compact and portable. Only vibration can be measured, and the analysis can be done with the help of software. Since we are using the software for analysis, it gives better results and stable results compared to other FFT analyzers. Next is a single-channel FFT analyzer. It is continuous and transient vibration measurement in environment and industrial applications. Single data can be measured at the time, that is either accelerometer or a microphone can be attached to the measure vibration or microphone. Next is a two-channel FFT analyzer. Simultaneously, two input can be taken or connected. That is, both accelerometer and microphone can be connected at the same time. In a previous case, either accelerometer or a microphone is attached. Next, in a two-channel FFT analyzer, same type of data can be measured from different points. Next, the multi-channel FFT analyzer. When it is necessary to measure the data of more than 2 points on a machine, then this analyzer is used. Since it is a multi-channel FFT, it has a multi-purpose uses, such as it can be used in a combination with all relevant vibration and sound transducers. Next, this is the applications of FFT analyzer. It is used for obtaining the frequency response characteristics of vibrating structure or body, used in vibration and noise monitoring system, and it is used in experimental model analysis or model testing for determination of natural frequency ratio, mode shape, etc. Further slides will be presented by Pranav Varshit.
My roll number is 17A235 and let's see about a quarter car model. A quarter car model generally consists of a wheel and its attachments like the tire, suspension elements, which is collectively known as the unsprung mass, and a quarter portion of the chassis, which is rigidly connected to the other parts. And the parameters of the quarter car model are the suspension stiffness, the tire stiffness, the damping coefficient, the sprung mass and the unsprung mass, and it has 2 degrees of freedom. One is due to the vertical moment of the sprung mass and the other is due to the vertical moment of the unsprung mass. About a half car model, it is basically a two-dimensional model in which we'll be analyzing only two wheels. For this, we'll be taking half the weight of the entire car, including the passenger load, for the analysis purpose. The main advantage of this type of model is that the vehicle pitch motion can be simulated, the front and rear dampers and other spring characteristics can be modeled differently. The body motion and the center of gravity effect can also be simulated. A half-car model is used to analyze the axle of the vehicles, which has an independent type of suspension. A half-car model will have 4 degrees of freedom. They are the vertical translation of the vehicle body and chassis, the vertical translation of the front wheel and the rear wheel, and the other one is due to the pitching effect. Now let us see about a full car model. In this model, the total weight of the vehicle will be considered along with the passenger load, and the 4 wheels are taken here for the analysis. It is a 3-dimensional model which has a movement also in the z direction. The advantages of the full car model includes the vehicle pitch and the roll can be simulated. Different front and rear system geometries can also be modeled. Left side and right side of the body and tire motions can be simulated. Unsprung mass and sprung mass motions can be evaluated for all suspension systems which are included to the wheels. And a full car model is generally comprises of 4 quarter car models. So degrees of freedom of a full car model, it has actually 7 degrees of freedom. The vertical translation of all the 4 wheels, the left front, the right front, the rear left and the rear right, the vertical translation of the sprung mass, and pitching and rolling.
Thank you, Pranav. This is Nishan, 17A234. I'll be explaining about the model analysis of a quarter car model. So first of all, a quarter car model is a model that has 2 degrees of freedom, which is the linear vertical motion of the sprung mass and linear vertical motion of the unsprung mass. So quarter car model is used to analyze one quarter of the suspension system, which is any one side of the vehicle, front left, front right, rear left and rear right, any one is analyzed. So by combining 4 quarter car models, we'll able to achieve a full car model. So this is the important advantage of the quarter car model. We can combine 4 quarter car models and easily analyze a single quarter car model and combine them together to get a full car model. So suspension system is very important for providing comfort to the passengers. In this study, we'll determine the modeling and analyzing of a 2 degree of freedom quarter car model. So modal analysis plays an important role in the analysis of a suspension system, and here we'll see the modal equations and the natural vertical motion equations of the vehicle and solve them at different damping cases. So modal analysis. What is modal analysis? So modal analysis is a tool to determine the natural frequency of the system. Whenever a component is given a dynamic loading condition, it will result in vibration of the component. So in a vehicle, a sudden acceleration or deceleration or a bump in a road or while taking a turn, all these are considered to be a dynamic loading condition. At all these conditions, vibrations will take place in the vehicle. This vibration, if the uh, vibration of the vehicle has a frequency which is equal to the natural frequency of the system, it will lead to fatigue of the components. This is due to the resonance criteria. Resonance is nothing but the if the applied frequency is equal to the natural frequency, it will lead to increase in the amplitude and lead to failure of the components. So this condition attains when the applied frequency equal to natural frequency. So the modal analysis is used to determine the natural frequency, and the vibration on the vehicle is maintained such that it is not reaching the natural frequency of the system. So the modal analysis is used to identify the natural frequency and the vibration modes. So the engineers are required to design the system which do not have natural frequency near the frequency of the excitation loads. Suspension parameters. Traditionally, automotive suspension have three major functions, which are road holding, maintaining contact between road wheel and road, load carrying capacity, and the comfort to the passengers. So all these three cannot be achieved by a single vehicle. We'll have to compromise any one of them. Compromise the three to get a required amount of each function. So if the vehicle is used for off-road purposes like load carry dumpers and tippers, we'll consider load carrying capacity as a main motto, and for passenger cars we'll consider the ride comfort as our main motto. So the suspension system is designed based upon the purpose of the car. The suspension system must also support the vehicle weight and provide directional control while taking different maneuvers, and provide isolation of the road-induced vibrations to the passenger compartment. Uh, for a passive suspension system, all the parameters of the suspension are fixed at the beginning of the design itself, and the values are fixed based upon the compromise between these functions. So we'll study the dynamic response for the given parameters of the suspension system. So this is the quarter core model. So M2 here is the sprung mass, which is the quarter of the sprung mass of the total vehicle. Why we are taking quarter is it is the quarter core model, one wheel of the vehicle. So M1 is the unsprung mass. C1 is the damping ratio of the damper. K is the suspension stiffness of the spring stiffness of the spring. KT is the tire stiffness, and Z2 is the vertical displacement of sprung mass. Z1 is the vertical displacement of unsprung mass, and Q is the vertical displacement of tire due to road conditions. So these are the equations of motion that are attained from the quarter core model. So by analyzing this mass spring damper system, we get the two equations shown in the above. So by applying Fourier transform to these equations, we'll get the equations in the form of frequency domain. The time domain is converted into frequency domain by using Fourier transform. So based upon the Fourier transform, we'll get the equation in terms of omega. By solving the equation for the omega, we get two values of omega, which are the natural frequency of the quarter core model. By determining this natural frequency, we can make the vibration to be to not attain the natural frequency of the system. The natural frequency thus attained should not be attained by the vehicle at any condition, and the vehicle suspension parameters are designed such that the natural frequency is attained only at a velocity higher than the maximum possible velocity of the vehicle. In general, it is the velocity that cannot be attained by the vehicle, so that the resonance does not occur in the vehicle, and resulting in fatigue due to vibrations. So this is avoided by determining the natural frequency and designing the vehicle to operate within the below the natural frequency of the suspension system. Thank you, sir.